Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands, because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us, because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Well, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. You know, I can't really play the video anymore, else I'll get dinged, but I will vote for Donald Trump. Do, 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 do. And, um, this really, it's all fun and games until um, you realize that you're still within 90 miles of territorial waters to a sovereign nation who, by all counts and intents, it looks like another Maduro-like situation that's getting, I would say, uh, relatively soon. I said yesterday, I said, look, we're on a 12-hour news cycle, less than a 12-hour news cycle, and we truly are. We truly are. I wish, like, I. It's not that I don't. I wish, but look, the Most High is showing us how this thing is moving, and it's greatly moving because there's a couple of articles that I want to show so you can kind of see where we're at in this time. Very interesting time. Because all I can say is that as we're seeing these things, nobody's doing this but themselves. It's a I would say it's self-inflicted gunshot wounds. So right here, Castro could be captured like Maduro. Trump administration hints. Acting Attorney General says Cuba's former president will face justice for downing of U.S. planes in 1996 from Ben Stockton. This is from a the Telegraph dot co.uk. So the Telegraph. And it says here the U.S. could capture Raul Castro as it did Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. The acting attorney general appeared to suggest Mr. Castro, 94, the former president of Cuba, has been indicted on murder charges over the shooting down of two planes operated by a U.S. based Cuban exile group in 1996, the Department of Justice said. Todd Blanche, the acting U.S. Attorney General, said Mr. Castro and five co defendants also face charges of destruction of an aircraft and conspiracy to delete U.S. nationals. At a press conference announcing the charges, Mr. Blanche was asked about the prospects of getting Mr. Castro to the U.S. to face justice. He said this was not a show indictment, adding that that U.S. officials expected him to show up here by his own will or by another way. Do you understand? These are all acts of war. What you saw in Venezuela, that was an act of war. When you're invading sovereign territory of other countries, those are acts of war. It's lawfare. Now, the reality is that you have to be careful about what you do, because eventually that actually will catch up to you. And that's where I look at this time in the season because it's like, oh boy, you have to understand when then people get sick and tired of different things, it will begin. They're laying the casework, they're going to lay the foundation. Here's another article, and I'm sorry I'm running through this because there's quite a lot this Thursday because, as expected, um, articles are now popping up about different plans and different things. And, it looks as though more than likely a twofer's getting ready to happen. Let me see in this article if they show that the USS Nimitz was actually in the area. And, when you have U.S. aircraft carriers in an area, you generally know that it's not going to end very well. They're not just going to turn around and say that was a great show of force. No, they're going to do some things. And again, as the quote unquote hammer of the whole world is going, um, it's no surprise that these things are appearing how they're appearing. Let me show you this because, again, we're not on a 24-hour news cycle. We're about a 6 to 12-hour news cycle for all intents and purposes. And let me try to get you an article that's not behind the paywall. Here we go. Let me put this in here for you all to see, get those sources up in there. And this is sourced from The Hill, from news10.com. From a Philippe Timotija. U.S. aircraft carrier arrives in Caribbean amid tensions with Cuba. The Hill, U.S. aircraft carrier USS Nimitz and its strike group arrived in the Caribbean this week amid U.S. tensions with Cuba, and as President Trump has threatened to invade the island. So you can see all of this. They arrived on Wednesday. So USS Nimitz has proven its combat prowess across the globe, ensuring stability and defending democracy, if they want to call that that. Okay, that's, I think people are now seeing through what the defending democracy really means. I'm just saying. And Trump told reporters Wednesday that the administration has Cuba on our mind. And, now you're starting to see things because it's a pivot. Well, why is that pivot here and why is it happening? Well, that's actually quite simple. Let me show you this. Because this is from NDTV World. I'm sorry I'm flying through these articles because I told you there's a lot of things happening. And this is the Wednesday, Thursday buildup. So Thursday, this this morning or afternoon, there's going to be another rush of information about how things have gone, how things, this is happening, that's happening, this is moving. Um, we've been here before. We're just now seeing how this is working. This is from an NDTV from Santuti Nath, world news source as of yesterday, Indian Standard Time. F-15s and F-35 MQ-9 Reaper drones. U.S. report says 42 aircraft lost in Iran war. The CRS, which provides policy and legal analysis of the U.S. Congress, or to the U.S. Congress and committees, compiled the losses by pursuing news reports and statements by the Department of Defense and the United States Central Command, CENTCOM. So you have some, basically, they're watchdogs. And the U.S. Department of Defense has not published a comprehensive assessment of combat losses so far. But again, as I told you, things get reported on. And so Washington, this is at least 42 United States military aircraft, including fighter jets and drones, have been lost or damaged during the war in Iran, according to an official report. The losses may increase due to multiple factors, including classification, ongoing combat activity, and attribution, said the report by the Congressional Research Service. So what they're saying is that this doesn't really scratch the surface, but it gives you a better idea. And there's still ongoing. So it's 42 plus, 42 plus. And that is, sorry, I lost the page, some sort of advertisement. And there is, of course. So I will get off that page, but I just wanted to jump on into that one. But I want to now show you why these countries are not jumping to the aid of the United States. And that's simply because you have countries that are looking at this and they're saying, why would we put ourselves in harm's way? You say everything is good, y'all are lying. Y'all are lying. This is again from the Telegraph, from a Harriet Barber. U.S. pauses defense partnership with failing Canada. Second World War era forum halted over lack of credible progress by Ottawa on military commitments. So they say. No, they are mad because Canada's not rushing to the aid of the United States in this war. Or excuse me, this global campaign. And you're going to start to see a pattern emerge, is that the nations, right? They're not, as I showed you on the Tai Chi Master. I loved that movie by Jet Li back in the day, where you had the evil warlord throwing in all of the people that were supposedly loyal to him, and he was supposed to be loyal to others, and he served up his commander on the spikes, and then as everything was kind of closing in, he was throwing his own men towards his basically the yin and yang, the good and the evil. And at the same time, the very last scenes of the demise was give me another chance, and then another, wicked act and deed that was committed actually created the downfall and led to his own demise by his own hand. And I just referenced that movie because, to me, that was a great action scene of when the person that has been um, corrupted by the power and the wealth and the influence, and they want to do everything in their power to keep that, and destroying without mercy, without conscience. It will lead to a unscrupulous demise. And people can see it. Again, I told you, the only folks that are not able to see it are the ones that are actually held hostage by this press. And if you don't acquiesce or placate, then you will face the reprisals of the current order. And now, as you're seeing things happening, it's what's said, the actions, and what's said. And now people can see the actions, and this is an empire in decline because the actions are you're trying to get all the resources, you're trying to grab everything that you're grabbing, because the reality is something that they can't shake. They can't shake what this was, what this has always been. For Babylon, for the systems of Babylon, the concept of Babylon, they prettied it on up, but I'm sorry, this was built on the bones of our ancestors that were taken over here via the transatlantic slave trade, that was never provided any type of recompense of justice. And now, and now the biblical constructs that they try to utilize in their perverted manner with all of their issues and their lack of repentance on that one. Now everything is now coming to the forefront and to the head, because the understanding of Teman, we're going back to Obadiah, the hem of Esau, the skirt of Esau is pulled up, everything's being exposed. And the loss of prestige and power is something that they said they're never going to lose, but they're losing it every single day as they are faltering on the world scene. And this faltering is being shown when you have state visits, and then less than a week, you're now having these criticisms and critiques, but all the while, you're losing friends and allies at a precipitous pace. So this is from Harriet Barber, published on Tuesday, May 19th at 3:57. The United States has paused its participation in a joint defense board with Canada that dates back to the Second World War, in the latest escalation of tensions with long-standing ally, the Pentagon accused Canada of failing to make credible progress on its defense commitments. What would that be? They're just going to say defense commitments just because that's an easier thing to say. Because again, now folks are going to be mad because nobody's coming to the aid and the rescue Because why? Because nobody wants to be blamed. They already know how this goes. I'm not going to be scapegoated. Why? Man, we saw that you do black folks. Do you all know? I told you this. We've told you this. I know I've told you this. Um, what has always been the traditional, long-standing influence of the United States? It's been us. African Americans, Hebrews, Israelites, however you want to say it, Yahudim, however you want to classify it. Can we get the Negroes to come on out? And I come to recall one of the movies I used to watch as a kid on USA Networks back in the day. The Warriors. And I remember the scene on the beach where the one gang, and there was a gang full of white folks, Caucasian folks. Can't make this up. This is in the movie. I'm just paraphrasing you two for educational purposes only. It's in the movie. You can get mad. But the black man, Cyrus, that had gotten all the gangs together and, saying the can you dig it? And then, Cyrus gets popped, and then the person, the shooter, which was the gang that was full of white people, they were the ones that made the accusation first. Look, it was the Warriors. They did it. It was them. And that led to a series of the Warriors running around with and it was interesting because it was mixed. They had the Latinos, they had the blacks, they had the whites, they had and folks were getting um um really messed up. At the end of the scene, you only had like a few black people left. Most of the white folks, they one scene, the white man had been cuffed because he was, too busy, looking at and trying to draw the affections of a lady cop that had then arrested him in Central Park. And one of the it was just interesting to see that playback and to kind of understand some things, because at the end of the chase, the movie, people were figuring on out the what had happened, because it was the black crew that was, had sponsored everything, and they were the strongest crew in the city, and they had their detectives on it, and they realized that it was the white folks that had basically cried wolf, played the foul. And one of the scenes, as they were culminating on the beach there at Coney Island, and the white person in his it was in a hearse, tinted out hearse, and he opened up his window and he was clanging three glass bottles, and he was saying, "Warriors, come out and play, yay! Warriors, come out and play, yay!" Clanging the bottles. And I look at this because it's like the bottles of war is being clanged by someone from New York City that is trying to get the attention of black folks, and it's, Yahoo Dean, come out and play, yay. And we're saying no. Sorry that I led you on that 5-minute descriptive, but that's the case. And it's not just him, it's the whole system saying, please come out and play, because the source of power is not, the scepter is not, the information warfare is not working. And however, whatever has been stated, whatever, monetary support systems have, been provided in the past, whatever sacred cows of institutional protections that are no longer there, um, whatever secret societal safeguards that were supposed to be in place, nothing's budging. We can't move them. We can't get them on out. We can't get them shocked. Well, they know that we're trying to go after not just the 14th Amendment, but we're trying to go after their citizenship. They know we're trying to ship them on out of here, right? What are they doing? We're sitting here doing what? Seeing your collapse. Well, you're going to be affected too. Yep, we are. And thank the Most High that our ancestors would have loved to see this happening. And I believe that our ancestors are in the grave at rest, smiling and giving the Most High praise during their time of being asleep. I can see that from my grandmother, as she had repeated the 23rd Psalms in her state of dementia to the day she passed away at 96 years old. As she would say, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie on green pastures. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me beside still waters. And I remember visiting, and there was a white lady, Caucasian, and she would yell at my grandmother from time to time because she would quote that word in her state of obvious mental decline. And I know that we have had our families, our ancestors in that fervent state. They may not have known who they were, but they knew who they served. They knew that they served an Elohim of retribution. It wasn't going to come from our hands, but they knew the word. They knew of this. What we're saying, what we're doing, it's not new. It's not a brand new thing. Look, they only took this away at the start of the 20th century because that was going to interfere a lot with their grand plans. And it had. And it did. But the evidence was all written around the South. And the evidence was all written around the world. They can only control this portion of reality. And all of a sudden, how do these pesky Negroes know to read the Bible and to understand, to ask questions? And more importantly, how do they know to ask for understanding through Yahushua HaMashiach and to be led by the Ruach HaKodesh? How do they know to start in on basic research questions? Basic questions. I believe that that's those saints. How long, Father? Patience, just a little while. Patience. That's happening right now. Just a little while. Patience. And that's what we have to encourage ourselves with. Patience. Just a little while. And really, what we're seeing is we're seeing an implosion. It's actually what it is. It's an implosion. The fallout dust goes throughout, but the implosion actually does happen from within. Uh-oh. They decide to sit it on out. Now we need to have every distraction that we can underneath of the sun, because now the world is recognizing it for what it is. The beast system sees what it is. And this is from Express dot, well, in the UK, from a Charles Bradley and Richard Ashmore. Xi Jinping issues law of the jungle, or chilling law of the jungle, excuse me, killing law of the jungle warning to Donald Trump as World War III fears soar. The Chinese president issued a horrifying warning. Well, it's a warning. Are they doing it? Is it really horrifying? Because now people are seeing what's happening. I think what's horrifying is that the actions are being exposed. And now what's horrifying is that somebody is actually saying things about the actions. Actually. Uh-oh, it's actually happening. They're actually calling us out. Uh-oh. That's not good. Because remember, they would be able to do what they want without any reprisal, without any criticism or things of that nature. And then they'd be able to wave this or wave that or say this and say that. Shut up, and or we're going to come after you. And now the world is saying other things. Chinese President Xi Jinping has issued a major warning to Donald Trump as he welcomed Russia's Vladimir Putin this week. The communist leader of the world's second most powerful economy. It's actually the most powerful economy, but they always say second because there's connotations to that. You already know. Excuse me. You got to have the collapse, and then it's like, oh, well, guess what? You see that you've collapsed, and now we're here on the world stage. Because, once they declare themselves as the top dog, you realize that that is when they're going to, that's the battle. That's the strike. Let me continue. Met President Putin in the Chinese capital, Beijing, today. That was yesterday, May 20th. The two leaders are expected to reaffirm strategic ties. Oh, wait a second. This isn't brand new. This isn't brand new. Remember, the propaganda here in the United States is, oh, this is brand new. Remember 2001, the little friendly relations. That's why I tell you, look at the propaganda when these things happen. And I have to tell you, now that we're seeing it, they can't do a replay on it. This is it. To me, this was it. This was um all of the political niceties, demonstrations, actions, because now we're the ones coming on out and hey, we're sitting here, but people are still listening. We're talking about this. People are still listening. We're not just going on out there to be, bullet catchers. No, we're not. We want your bodies on the line. No, you're not. Not really. Are expected to reaffirm strategic ties between Russia and China amid ongoing Western pressure over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Putin and President Xi oversaw the signing of more than 40 cooperation agreements in areas such as trade, technology, and media exchanges. They stressed their growing trade, particularly in oil and natural gas, and declared themselves aligned in international relations. Oh boy, I guess that just destroyed that Xi Trump meeting in less than a week. In less than a week. Oh, you thought that was going to work? Haha. Nope. Just kidding. The country's ties have reached the highest level in history, she said. After the signing ceremony, speaking to members of the delegation and journalists, the two sides also agreed to extend a friendship treaty first signed in 2001. Putin told those in the room that the driving force behind economic cooperation is Russian Chinese collaboration in the energy sector. But in a warning to the White House, Xi, who also welcomed Trump to China last week, said what appeared to be a veiled threat to U.S. actions in recent months in Iran and elsewhere. He said the world faces the danger of reverting to the law of the jungle. Excuse me. Now you understand what's happening. They are laying the groundwork. They're laying the groundwork because why? Hey, we have energy, we have economic cooperation. Um, if you don't know where this, excuse me, if you don't know where this nexus of power is, if you don't know how this nexus of power is being conducted, we're letting you know. We're giving you the front row seats. We're giving you the tickets. We're giving you the understanding. And to me, what these summits reiterate, especially as I look at things, just in my understanding, you don't have to agree with me or not. I told people, like, you don't have to agree with me, but if you don't agree with me, tell me what I'm not seeing. I'd like you to let me know, what is it that I'm not looking at? What is it that I'm seeing in this world that you're seeing in this world? What is it that I've been exposed to in the background? Because I've seen some plans that have been very sensitive, and I don't go over that. Some different strategic campaign plans, some different things that have security banners and classification headings. I like to ask people, okay, well, I guess that you did a foreign disclosure officer course also. Okay, so you know about release authorities also. Okay. That's why I'm very measured with my words. That's why I know my boundaries in terms of what I can and cannot say. That's why I elaborate on what is being said, because when they say a certain thing, I'm like, oh, they actually said it. And this is why when you see that they are, and most people now, when they see what's happening, and you know who the most people are that have been crying that the system that they thought was their generational inheritance, this is what it is, their inheritance is collapsing. And with their inheritance collapsing, why aren't there victuals? You better read that Deuteronomy 28. That nation that captured us, that brought us on over here through the banner, through the standard. Don't get it twisted. It's still Rome. It's just a perfected version of Rome. You want to know why that's funny that they had stated a perfected version of Rome? Because remember, not even a month ago, they were blasting the Pope. Trump is more what? He's more righteous than the Pope. I think we know we didn't miss that one. No, no. Oh, the perfected version of Rome. They're saying these things. What, you just want us to ignore what they've said? You just want us to say everything is fine and dandy here. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't see nothing. I'm just living my life. Right? That's what they would say. I'm just living my life. And then when they go to the gas station, they're like, I'm just living my life. Why is this gas so high? I'm just living my life. Why are these grocery prices up? I'm just living my life. Well, why is my job? Why did they fire me? Or why are they threatening that I may get fired? Actually, they don't even threaten that you may get fired. They don't even do that anymore because they know that them folks are going to have some retribution. So, as we are seeing a lot of these things taking place, they're seeing their decline happening. It's not just a economic decline. This has been a spiritual, moral. But we said it. Look, understand what's happening. Oh no, you all, it's racial. That was their go-to. And it's like, no, it wasn't racial. This is what's happening. Because they could not stand to be criticized or critiqued. Is what China saying the law of the jungle? Oh boy, that's being racial. China saying that's being racial. Do you see how that doesn't make sense now? it's it's eye-opening to see that all of their straw man arguments, their ad hominems, all of their logical attacks, it doesn't bear any weight anymore. And now everything that they've tried to utilize and say, because they would think that that would be their rallying cry. Oh, it's racial it's racial. Now they don't have that argument anymore. It got taken away from them. And all we did was just, okay, look, watch, see what happens. We already knew it was a weak position to stand on. You already knew that. But then now their positions have been exposed. Yep. This is a Star Trek reference. Their deflector shields are at 0%. Exactly. They are taking all them hits. They're getting all them damages from them Klingon phasers. Them Klingon and Vulcan phasers are hitting them at light speed, isn't it? They don't know where them hits are coming from. Why are you black people so happy? Why? Why? I don't understand this. Well, because we're just seeing you fall on your face. And it's not that we're laughing, but it is that when we were trying to warn you, you wanted nothing to do with us. We left you all alone. We would have healed you, but you Negroes don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here. We got Agenda 2025. Okay, if it's like that, all right. Enjoy yourself. Wait. Time out. We need you back. We need you back. Baby, come back to me. Do do do. I'm on my own. Yeah, you are. We just have our popcorn and we're seeing these disasters unfold. We're just like, ooh, man, it's looking like a UFC fight. Did you see how he got punched in the face? Dang, did you see how he did the Komodo dragon on him? Dropped him on down. Man, she's hitting the US with some Street Fighter moves. Da 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 fight. Da 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 do 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 do. Hadouken. Oh. Liu Fang wins. Da 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 da. Step into my kitchen and I will walk you down to get this walk work. Yeah. I had to egg roll on my enemies, Confucius says. Oh, you have to have those little sound effects. I grew up on those childhood sound effects. Oh, if somebody could have those little Street Fighter cut scenes, towards the end, it would be like she in the graphic with the little forehead forehead wrap tied, the bow tied, and then Trump in the background, with the loss and the little the beat up face looking like Guile. That's that's the image right there. She is M Bison. Golly. Man, why were my sonic booms and my sonic kicks working? Ah. You lose. Oh boy. Maybe I'll have to fight as Ken. Ken is Canadian. Oh. So I had to bring you back into a little bit of early 90s nostalgia. Yeah, family. I'll say this. What we're seeing here, especially at this time, you cannot make this up. Really, truly, you can't. And it does get to a time to where it's not even funny anymore. It really does become a very um sad um a sad introspection, right? See, the Wiles in the past, that used to be us. We would always be kind of thrown off guard. Is it us? Is what we're doing? Is this? And now I believe, just in my opinion, just in what I've seen in my experience, we're very comfortable. Even though visibly things are not comfortable, we're actually comfortable. We're comfortable in our skin. We're comfortable in the situation. Okay. Well, don't you want to fight to have a better situation? Um, we've been doing that for a minute. I'm surviving. And if I don't survive, look, the Most High's gonna make a way. How can he? I couldn't live like that. I couldn't do that. Look, you you have to be you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's just how it goes. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because you can't have your trust in the system. You can't have your trust in man. Your trust better be in the Most High alone. And you have to understand this is what the Most High is doing. He is putting us in that uncomfortable factory. But it's not for our destruction. It's for his praise and his glory. That no one can say, oh, well, you know what? That was all me. Nope. No one's going to take his glory. No one's going to take his praise. And we're seeing the Most High do this all by himself. And all I can say is hallelujah. Hallelujah. I don't know how we're doing this, but the Most High's doing it. He's working on out some awesome things. But I do have to say, though, we'll see some different ramp ups going on within the next couple of hours as the Thursday news cycle literally starts in at 8:30, an hour before the markets. If you've noticed that's how the news cycle has been working. And all I can say, family, please do not get discouraged. You're not running this race alone. You have a community that you can reach on out to. You have ministry partners that are willing and able to engage. And we're here to encourage one another. That's it. So, in this time of judgment and captivity, I know we could all we're going through it too. We're all humans. We're working through this too. But I want to continue to let you know to be encouraged. So, with that said, family, most time willing, I will be back on Monday. Monday will be an extended Covenant Awakenings. If things pop off this weekend, if things get invaded this weekend, you know me, I'll be on. I'll be on. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss. And with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.